Hey ratbags, it's Jay. Today giving you my overview of the playtest for ABIOTIC Factor. It's a brand new crafting survival game set 1 to 6 players that's going to be coming out in 2024. They've just had their playtest finish and it was great fun. This is a throwback retro style looking game but with some really cool mechanics. There are a few hiccups and tedious moments though, which I'm going to go over, but overall I can't wait for this game to come out. I definitely think it should be on your radar. It's different enough from all the other survival games that I've played. It's got its own unique story and it's definitely got a lot more structure than maybe other people are used to. But within that structure you can come up with some crazy stuff, base defenses against monsters or mutants, exploring crazy worlds and just pretending to be a mad scientist trying to survive in a facility that's gone a bit wrong. So please leave a like for the best in survival games news, guides and opinion, and let's go. So the usual story, made by some tiny small little development team, I do believe out of Australia. It's very heavily influenced by games like Half-Life. The notion that you'll be going through facilities with crazy characters. It's got your own character creation screen that's pretty good, and it's got a lot going for it in terms of what you'll be able to craft. There is some big moments with monsters and bosses where stealth might be the better option until you can get enough gear to craft more crazy contraptions or better weapons. It has got that retro feel to it, and for some people, being a bit snobby, this is not what they envision in survival games. They just want the Conan Exiles of the world, or maybe more recently something like Nightingale. But I love the fact that this is definitely taking me back to another era of playing games, but it's still got all the modern things that you would expect. Playing it on my own, I had a bit of a tough time. It's got all the usual things as well, like obviously healing. You will need to eat and drink and make sure that you're not too cold or maybe too warm. So in terms of pure survival mechanics, this isn't just an RPG with some light stuff chucked on, this is a proper full-on survival game. Maybe it hasn't got the walls, ceilings of a traditional base builder, but you don't need it because you're obviously inside a facility. What it does have is encampments, basically embattlements, and protecting your space from the creatures that roam. Different areas of the laboratories and faculties will be more dangerous than others, and you have to think about having power run through a lot of your items. The power turns off at night time, adding another complex layer of things to worry about in survival. So are you going to have enough batteries to last through the night to light the way or keep you warm or your defences up against monsters? I didn't get a chance to put a huge amount of time into playtest, but the first few nights that I did survive, it wasn't that bad. I was obviously in the starting area, but I could well imagine if you set up a camp in a pretty tough place, yeah, surviving the night might become trickier and you'll definitely need more access to some of the traps. ABIOTIC Factor's got a huge amount of crafting in it, and this is where I would start maybe laying in a little bit of constructive criticism. It has got this old age problem of inventory space just not being enjoyable, having to manage it all the time. You can get backpacks that obviously upgrade, and there might be other ways too, but the limited resources that you carry around have to be boosted for full release. The point of the game is that you go on small little adventures, go and check out one corner of a facility and come back maybe, or keep setting up checkpoints and areas for your new base. But there are just so many different components you need for so many different items, whether it's armor, weapons, the traps, or more crafting options, or even decor, it just becomes so tedious. The limited inventory space is just too punishing at the beginning. And even when you start getting some minor upgrades, they're only increasing by 1 or 2, maybe 3 slots. No one wants to spend half their game time sorting out inventory or deciding which items to take when you've only really maybe gone a little bit away and just gathered a few basics. So I personally would simplify some of the crafting to make more multi-use out of certain items, or go ahead and obviously just increase the inventory. Now that said, easier than done, because I know that takes performance in terms of having more slots and space, and that might be why they want to ramp it up. And obviously you're meant to be starting out slowly, not having a backpack that could fit absolutely everything in. So it might be just a case of tuning it, and if you do get access to much better gear that can carry more, making that a little bit available earlier or cheaper to make. As you just saw from that clip, we've got the heating that you have to set up if you want to stay warm enough during the night or not get debuffs, and a cool little mini game. There are so many nice little features in this that I've not seen in anything before. It's really unique. It's got a great sense of humour, very, very kind of dry and, frivolous. As you might expect in a playtest, some of the voice work is a bit questionable, but given some time once they launch into early access and hopefully lots of money from selling the games, they'll be able to do even better. But I applaud them for even including it in such a very first version of their game. The game does feel scary. I think lots of people might compare it also to SCP, which I've never really played, so I can't talk too much about it, other than knowing it's a scary game where you're roaming around corridors a lot in the dark. And even in daytime, I got my fair share of scares. The combat is kind of janky, and that's part of the charm of the game, the animations and the way that you move and enemies attack you. From these bigger creatures that I ran into quite a lot, and the smaller little jumping ones, you can actually catch some of these in nets, making it a bit easier once you get to aim. It was quite difficult, but again, I like that as part of the charm. And from the trailer, it looks like there's going to be a lot more variety in the enemies that you face. The laboratories themselves are filled with nooks and crannies for you to go and explore, and maybe open doorways with the correct entry keycards, so it's a bit more puzzly, and that's where the structure comes into it rather than obviously just a sandbox survival game. If you want to progress, you will need to go through different areas of the facility until hopefully you get to the end and maybe make your escape. What I'm hoping is there'll be lots of shortcuts that open back and forth, so that players who do not necessarily want to upend and make a new base every 5 minutes can get back to their own fairly quickly, or maybe there'll be teleporters and stuff like that in the future. But I really love this, the fact it's got really pretty polished storytelling going on here, with the quests and the missions directing you where to go. Never felt really lost. There's lots of big signs everywhere saying which way is going to progress the next part of the story. I didn't even get to the end of the playtest because I was just having fun learning mechanics and trying to survive. Not sure if they're ever planning anything like NPCs that actually guide you or help you if you're playing solo, but you do come across a whole bunch of them, and I've seen in trailers that you can heal other people yourself. So it'd be cool if you could do that and maybe get a bonus or give them the right kind of item, and that would also maybe help give you something in return, rather than just being expo kind of points, just to give you a bit of story. Maybe not since Scum has taken a poo or going a wee been a vital part of survival, but you have got this in Abiotic Factor. You will need to visit the restroom pretty regularly, and if you click on the button, then this can be a quick, enjoyable experience. There are just so many things to loot and smash up. Every kind of drawer and cabinet has got resources in it, and like I said, plenty of stuff to bash about and pick up all sorts of items to craft. You'll be able to craft weird and wacky armour and weapons by the looks of things as well, and I've got different slots which you'll really appreciate as well for everything. The crafting system's pretty cool as well. It's got like this almost little mini game where you have to basically guess what items will be needed to craft it the first time. It gives you kind of like a secret blueprint, and you have to just basically choose. There's no real punishment if you get it wrong, you just simply go through, but I like this idea, learning how things work. Sometimes though, you look at the images and think, oh yeah, the crossbow is definitely going to need this piece of wood or that item, and it turns out it's something else completely. So maybe that could be just refined a little bit to really match up if you could take a good guess. But yeah, it's not the end of the world, and it's a nice little addition before learning that recipe and being able to craft stuff. You can pack up all your base parts as well in convenient little cubes and take them with you. So if you craft a crafting bench, you don't have to worry about leaving it anywhere. It's simple enough just to take. And furniture that you find, you've got a chance of keeping it when you bash it, so that if you do want to have a nice desk, PC set up in your base, then maybe you will be able to do so. Otherwise, it breaks down into the raw resources, and this is what you'll be using to craft everything else. The playtest for me was quite balanced in terms of the resources and stuff you would need to feed yourself, and make sure you've got plenty of water. You'll find water coolers that you can use the water to either wash yourself if you find yourself covered in too much mutant gunk. And the cooking, I would say, could be made a bit quicker. Spending a couple minutes literally waiting at a grill to cook your meat isn't the most fun mechanic. I definitely think that needs to be shortened. But I love the kind of in-depth nature of stuff where you are going to need batteries and you've got to charge them if you want to survive through the night in a dangerous zone. I can't wait to see what kind of other traps I'll be able to set up, and maybe some more complicated setups. And yeah, I'm really hoping they keep pushing the weird and wonderful weapons like this teeth club here. Definitely want to see more stuff like this. They've got also a big skill system in it, like you learn it, so the more you do something, the better you get at it, and I presume that gives it more durability. Obviously you'll gain better running stats or maybe more melee damage, etc. As I said, you get to choose your threads and stuff at the start of the game. And a really cool feature is the different kind of character building that you can do. So you can choose kind of a role, giving you some bonuses and buffs or maybe debuffs, but then they may come with some negatives as well. I'm hoping there's ways to earn some of this stuff during the game as well, like at certain points. I presume that this skill system would give you maybe some points that you could put in directly into some of this other stuff, just in case you change your mind. But obviously they're meant to just be starting points, I guess, to help out with your skills. But yeah, it would be cool if there's other ways to speed up the process, like unlock a special puzzle room, defeat a certain boss, then you get given a special tonic or potion, maybe some sort of syringe filled with mysterious gunk that you could go ahead and give yourself a positive trait. Obviously the negative traits are there. That would be cool if you continuously neglect something, that the game would maybe give you more of these, maybe even if it's only temporary. But that would be a good idea as well, just to keep adding a little bit more to it. This again was another really cool thing, that the fact that you could choose some positive traits and again the negatives balance it out. All in all, really impressed with the game. I think it looks great. The animations are janky. Yes, it does look like a PlayStation 2 game lit up in a nice new engine, and I'm all down for it. The crafting is really involved and in depth, and certainly the combat and the humour kind of matches up a lot. I can't wait to delve more into it and explore the different zones and see if we can come up with all sorts of stuff. It looks like they've got vehicles, again, more base building or encampments and defences, and that's definitely something I want to get my teeth into in the future. It seems tailor-made for console, so I'm hoping they'll announce that it'll come to an Xbox or PlayStation once it's been in early access on PC a while. And yeah, I'm expecting it hopefully maybe early to mid next year. No release date fully given just yet, but certainly it looked like it was in a good polished state for this playtest. Only a few minor gripes with the UI, maybe not clicking off whether you're using the controller or the mouse sometimes, but I'm sure stuff like that will be fixed. And yeah, just a few audio issues. So it's got my ratbag seal of approval for sure. I'll be all over this once it releases. It's unique, it's different, and that's what I'm looking for in survival genre lately. So make sure you go and wishlist it, give it a shot, and yeah, I'll keep you guys informed about any big news with it as soon as we get a proper release date. Until next time, ratbags, I will catch you later.